Keir Starmer made an appeal to Labour MPs last night at a meeting of backbenchers and Labour peers, facing some tough questions. He told them that the current welfare system was indefensible and unfair. However, there's a clear sense within the Labour leadership that the reception he received wasn't strong enough, signalling trouble ahead. In response, he's taking an unusual step. Over the next 2 days, every Labour MP who isn't a minister is being called into number 10 for face-to-face meetings. His goal is to persuade him to support £5, possibly £6 billion in welfare cuts. He has carved out around 5 hours from his schedule, not including preparation time, to hold these discussions, something rarely seen in politics. The urgency stems from the fact that some of these measures will require a vote in the House of Commons, and party leaders believe the number of potential rebels within Labour ranks could be significant. One source estimated that as many as 80 MPs might oppose the cuts, with the possibility of high-profile resignations, even from the cabinet. The tension was evident in today's cabinet meeting, where the discussion revolved around the fiscal rules on borrowing that Chancellor Rachel Reeves is determined to uphold. Nearly every cabinet member contributed to the discussion, an unusually high level of engagement. At the end of the meeting, Reeves asserted that cabinet was united in supporting her fiscal approach. However, sources present at the meeting suggested otherwise. Nearly half of those who spoke indicated the rule should be reconsidered, highlighting the internal divisions. Beyond the political maneuvering, the economic and social impact of these cuts is immense. Much of the focus is on personal independence payments, PIP, received by approximately 3.6 million people to cover the additional costs of living with a disability or long-term health condition. These payments, averaging nearly £7,000 per year according to the Office for Budget Responsibility, help cover expenses like heating, specialised equipment, and transportation. Before the pandemic, around 165,000 people in England and Wales applied for PIP annually. By 2023, that number had more than doubled to over 372,000. Both the previous Conservative government and the current Labour leadership view this trend as unsustainable, driving the push for cuts. A coalition of 6 charities has warned that reducing PIP funding on this scale would have devastating consequences. The Disability Charity Scope estimates that without PIP, an additional 700,000 disabled households would fall into poverty, an alarming prospect given that poverty levels are already disproportionately high in families with a disabled member. The government is framing the cuts as a necessary reform of a broken welfare system, echoing the rhetoric of the 2010 coalition government's welfare overhaul. The emphasis is on encouraging people back into work. However, critics argue there is a fundamental flaw in targeting PIP, which is awarded to disabled individuals regardless of employment status. Many recipients rely on it precisely to facilitate their ability to work. Data suggests that the UK population is becoming increasingly unwell, with around a third of new PIP claims relating to mental health conditions. Critics contend that rather than cutting benefits, the government should focus on understanding and addressing the root causes of rising ill health. But such long-term strategies won't deliver the immediate financial savings the government is seeking. Keir Starmer is facing mounting resistance from within his own party as he pushes forward with billions in welfare cuts. In an unprecedented move, he has summoned every Labour MP who isn't a minister for face-to-face meetings at number 10 over the next 2 days, hoping to secure support for the controversial measures. The cuts, estimated at around £5 to £6 billion, have sparked concerns among backbenchers, with some predicting a potential rebellion. Sources suggest as many as 80 MPs could oppose the plans, and there are even murmurs of high-profile resignations from the cabinet. The tension was evident during a recent cabinet meeting, where Rachel Reeves defended her strict fiscal rules on borrowing. While she claimed to have full support, insiders say nearly half of those present questioned the approach. The cuts largely target personal independence payments, which support millions of disabled individuals. Critics argue that slashing these benefits will push hundreds of thousands into poverty. Charities warn the move will have devastating consequences, while the government insists it is a necessary reform. With opposition growing, Starmer faces one of the biggest challenges of his leadership as he tries to hold his party together.